The alien girl stood in the center of the cold metal room, shaking from fear. Her wrists were tied with glowing cuffs, and 3 alien officers looked at her with ugly smiles. She was small, weak, and born with a faint mark on her back, a mark that her people believed was unlucky. Because of this mark, everyone treated her like she was nothing. Nobody respected her. Nobody wanted her. Today, they found a new way to humiliate her. One of the officers stepped forward and laughed. "You will be sent to a human, as a bride." The room burst into cruel laughter. The girl looked at them with wide, terrified eyes. She had heard stories humans were dangerous predators living on a death world where everything tried to kill them. Aliens feared humans and also mocked them. But she never imagined she would be forced to marry one. Another officer leaned close and whispered, "Maybe he will eat you." The others laughed. Harder. Her heart beat painfully. She wanted to scream, but her voice would not come out. Her whole life, she had been weak and silent, and now she was being thrown away like trash. She didn't even know the human's name. She only knew this mission was not a real marriage. It was a joke, a punishment, a way to get rid of her forever. They pushed her into a small transport pod. The doors closed with a loud hiss. She sat on the metal floor, her hands shaking. For a moment, she wondered if death would be kinder than what waited for her on the human's planet. The pod shot into hyperspace. She hugged her knees and trembled. She imagined a giant human, with sharp teeth and angry eyes waiting for her. She imagined being locked in a dark room. She imagined screams. Her mind filled with fear until she could barely breathe. After hours, the pod landed gently. A voice spoke. "Welcome to Earth. Please exit the pod." Earth. Her body froze. She stood, hesitating, then slowly walked out into a warm breeze. She expected heat, fire, or angry humans waiting to drag her away. Instead, she saw something simple and peaceful, a small workshop, old tools, and a man wiping oil from his hands. The human. He looked at her with confusion, not anger. He had tired eyes, kind eyes, no sharp teeth, no weapons. Just a simple man in a simple workshop. Their eyes met. She panicked and fell to her knees, bowing deeply, her forehead touching the ground. "Please, don't hurt me. I will do anything. Just don't hurt me." The man blinked, confused. "Hurt you? Why would I hurt you?" His voice was soft, calm, nothing like what she imagined. She slowly lifted her head. The man stepped closer but kept his hands up so he wouldn't scare her. "My name's Daniel," he said. "Are you okay?" She didn't understand. She stared at him, shaking even more. Why was he being gentle? Why wasn't he angry? Did he not know she was a joke bride? Daniel looked at the glowing cuffs on her wrists. "Who did this to you?" he asked. Her throat tightened. My people. They sent me here, as a joke." Daniel's face changed. Not with anger at her, but anger at what was done to her. He sighed and shook his head. "That's not funny, that's cruel." She had never heard anyone say that before. She felt something strange, a tiny bit of safety. Daniel reached out carefully and touched the cuffs. She flinched. But instead of hurting her, he whispered, "Hold still." He pulled out a small tool and unlocked them. The cuffs fell to the ground. She stared at her free wrists. No one had ever freed her before. Daniel stepped back and pointed toward the door of his workshop. "Come inside. You look cold." Cold. It was strange. The aliens who sent her never cared if she was cold. But this human did. She followed him slowly, still afraid but curious. Why was he being kind? Why didn't he laugh at her like everyone else? Inside, he gave her a blanket, some warm food, and a chair to sit on. She felt her body relax for the first time in years. But just when she started to feel safe, a red light blinked on the roof of the workshop. Daniel frowned. "What is that?" The girl froze in fear. She knew exactly what it was. Her people had placed a hidden tracker on her. They were watching. They were coming. And humans were never supposed to keep what aliens threw away. The horror returned to her eyes. "Daniel," she whispered, trembling. "They are coming for me." The real danger was just beginning. Daniel stared at the blinking red light on his workshop roof. It pulsed like a heartbeat, slow but threatening. The alien girl sat frozen in her chair, her hands gripping the blanket he gave her. Her breathing grew fast and shaky. "What does it mean?" Daniel asked softly. Her voice was barely a whisper. They put a tracker inside me. They can see where I am. They know I'm with you now." Daniel's jaw tightened. He wasn't angry at her, but at the thought that someone had marked her like property. "Inside you?" He repeated. She nodded, tears forming. "I didn't ask for it. They forced it. If I run, they hunt me. If I hide, they find me." Daniel looked at her carefully, as if trying to understand how much fear she carried. "How long before they arrive?" "Not long," she whispered. "They are already on their way." He didn't panic. He didn't shout. He didn't throw her out to save himself. Instead, he pulled out a small toolkit. "We're removing it," he said. That the girl gasped. "No, if you try and they feel a disconnect, they will come faster. They may even attack you." Daniel shrugged. "Let them try." She stared at him like he was insane. No alien ever spoke against her people. No one ever stood between her and danger. But this human did not even hesitate. "You don't even know me," she whispered. Daniel looked at her with calm eyes. "I know you don't deserve what they did." Her chest tightened. No one had ever said words like that to her. She didn't even know how to handle kindness. Daniel gently touched her arm. "Where's the tracker?" She swallowed. "Under the skin, back of my shoulder." "Okay, sit still." She trembled as he sterilized a tool and leaned close. He smelled like oil and metal, a simple human scent, not like the cold chemicals of alien ships. "Does it hurt?" he asked, noticing her shaking. She nodded slightly. "Not the skin, the fear." He paused. "I won't hurt you." She closed her eyes. No one had ever promised that before. He made a tiny cut and she winced, biting her lip. He worked slowly, carefully, not rushing even though danger was coming. A few minutes later, he pulled out a tiny glowing chip, covered in her blood. Her eyes widened. "It's out." He dropped the chip into a metal box and crushed it under his boot until it sparked and died. For the first time in her life, she was untracked, unwound, free. Her breath came out shaky. You saved me." Daniel didn't act proud. He simply handed her a clean cloth. "Let's fix that wound." She let him bandage her shoulder. His hands were rough from years of hard work, yet gentle when he touched her. She lowered her eyes. "Why do you help me?" she whispered. "Humans are supposed to hate aliens. That's what we were taught." Daniel chuckled softly. "Not all of us follow what others say." Her cheeks warmed. She had never seen anyone like him among her people, but the peace didn't last long. Sudden boom shook the ground outside. Daniel and the girl froze. A deep, metallic voice echoed across the area. "Alien property detected. Return the asset." Her heart dropped. "They are here." Daniel grabbed a pulse wrench, his closest thing to a weapon, and motioned for her to stay behind him. The workshop door shook violently, as if giant fists were slamming into it. "Daniel," she whispered, terrified. "If they take me back, I'll disappear forever. They don't want me alive. They want the joke to end quietly." Daniel stepped forward to the door. "No one is taking you." The pounding grew louder. The door bent inward. Her breath came in sharp gasps. For a moment, she thought she might faint. She clutched his jacket, whispering, "Please, don't let them hurt you because of me." Daniel turned to her. His expression was calm, steady. I've been hurt before, he said. But what they are doing, that's wrong. And I won't. Stand aside. The door crashed open. 3 armored alien soldiers stepped in, large and confident. Their helmets glowed with symbols of authority. One pointed at her. Return the failed bride. Daniel stood between them and her. She's not going anywhere, he said quietly. The soldiers laughed. What will a human mechanic do? Daniel tightened his grip on the pulse-wrench. And in that moment, the girl realized something frightening. Something powerful. This human wasn't just kind. He was ready to fight for her, even against her own people. And the aliens had no idea what kind of human they were dealing with. The 3 alien soldiers stood inside the workshop, metal boots smashing the dusty floor. Their helmets glowed with cold blue light, and each carried a long stun lance that crackled with electricity. To them, this was routine. They came to collect something weak, something useless, something no one would defend, but a human was standing in their way. Daniel didn't move. His body was calm, his breathing slow. The alien girl hid behind him, clutching the back of his shirt with trembling fingers. Move aside, human, the lead soldier barked. This creature belongs to the Empire. Daniel didn't step aside. She's not a creature, he said. And she doesn't belong to anyone. The soldiers laughed like he had spoken nonsense. Humans don't decide alien laws. Daniel lifted the pulse wrench. Then today your laws don't matter. A small spark flickered in the alien girl's chest. Fear, but mixed with something else. Hope. No one had ever stood up for her before. Not like this. Not even close. The soldiers raised their weapons. Last warning, human mechanic, the leader hissed. Move. Daniel didn't move. So the soldiers attacked. The first one lunged forward. Daniel dodged and slammed the pulse wrench into the soldier's armor. A shockwave burst out, throwing the alien backward into a pile of metal crates. The second soldier swung his lance, but Daniel grabbed it, twisting hard until the weapon snapped in half. The alien girl gasped. Humans were strong. But Daniel was something more. The third soldier activated a stun field. Blue electricity filled the room. Daniel, she cried. He grabbed her, pulling her into the corner behind an old machine. The stun wave passed overhead, frying lights and melting tools. Run, he whispered. We can't fight them forever, she hesitated. But you, he met her eyes. I'll protect you. But we can't stay here. He grabbed a small bag, shoved in tools, water, and a small medical kit, then lifted her to her feet. The soldiers stormed toward them again. Daniel opened a hidden hatch in the workshop floor. It led to a narrow tunnel, dark, cold, and made from old mining roots humans once used. He pushed her inside first. Go, he said. Don't stop until I say. She crawled into the darkness. Daniel followed, shutting the hatch seconds before the soldiers reached it. The tunnel was tight and long. The girl's hands shook as she moved forward, dust covering her arms and legs. Behind her, she heard Daniel's steady breathing, strong, determined, unafraid. After what felt like forever, they reached a larger underground chamber. Daniel pulled out a small lantern, lighting the space with a soft orange glow. We should have a little time, he said. They'll search the workshop first. She sat on the ground, hugging her knees. They won't stop, she whispered. They will chase me until I die. They hate mistakes. I was a mistake. Daniel knelt in front of her. No, they hate what they can't control. Her eyes filled with tears. You don't understand. If they capture me, they won't just punish me. They'll erase me. They'll make it like I never existed. Daniel touched her shoulder gently. Then we won't let them catch you. She looked at him, heart pounding. Why do you care so much? No one. Daniel shook his head. No one deserves what they did to you. Not here. Not anywhere. Her hands shook. She wanted to cry. She wanted to run. She wanted to disappear, but Daniel's words held her in place like a warm hand pulling her from darkness. Then he said something that froze her completely. "They put the tracker inside you," he said quietly. "If they can track you, they can track what you're carrying." She blinked. "Carrying?" Daniel picked up a scanner from his bag and looked at her gently. "I think there's more they wanted to monitor." Her pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" He hesitated. "Let me check." She didn't understand, but she trusted him. She sat still as he scanned her stomach, her back, her chest slowly, carefully. The scanner beeped. Daniel's expression changed instantly. His eyes widened, his jaw went tense, his breath caught. The girl felt cold fear climb her spine. "Daniel, what is it?" He stared at the screen, stunned. I need to check again." He scanned a second time. The same result appeared. "Daniel," she whispered, voice shaking. "What's happening?" Daniel looked at her slowly, gently, but with absolute shock. "You're not just carrying a tracker," he said softly. "You're carrying something else." He swallowed hard. "You're pregnant." "With my child." Her eyes widened. Her people hadn't mocked her enough. They had now created something impossible, something the entire empire would kill to erase. And she had just discovered the truth. In a dark tunnel beneath a human's workshop, the word pregnant felt unreal in the dark tunnel. The alien girl stared at Daniel, her lips trembling, her mind spinning. "That's impossible," she whispered. "Humans and my kind, we cannot mix. It never happened in history." Daniel held the scanner. Steady. He wasn't smiling. It wasn't a joke. His voice was slow, gentle. "I checked twice. It's real." She covered her mouth with both hands. Her whole body shook. The Empire never allowed mixed offspring. Such a thing was considered a threat, a crime, a disruption to the balance of species. If they found out, "They will kill me," she said. "And you, and the child. They will erase all of us." Daniel put a hand on her shoulder. "Then we make sure they don't find us." But they were already too late. A heavy metallic rumble shook the tunnel walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered on Daniel's scanner. She froze. "That sound, that's not soldiers. That's a dropship." Daniel helped her up. "They tracked us faster than I expected." A deep echo rolled through the underground. Root, like thunder inside a cave. "They're trying to break through the workshop floor," Daniel said. "We need to move now." He grabbed her hand, not out of romance, but to keep her steady, and they ran deeper into the tunnels. The path became rough, full of broken stones and old cables from abandoned mining equipment. She stumbled. Daniel caught her every time. His hand was warm, sure, unafraid. Behind them, a loud crash echoed through the tunnels. "They broke in," she whispered. "They won't stop," Daniel replied. They reached an old rail cart sitting on rusty tracks. Daniel pushed her inside and jumped in behind her. He slammed a lever forward. The old machine screeched, then shot forward into the darkness, the wheels shaking with every turn. The tunnel lights ahead flickered old, unreliable, but still glowing. Enough to show the path. The girl hugged her stomach instinctively. "Daniel, why is this happening? I didn't choose to come here. I didn't choose anything." Daniel looked at her softly. "I know." She looked at him with helpless eyes. "What do I do now? You survive," he said. "I'll make sure of it." But then something unexpected happened. A sudden bright blue explosion behind them blasted the tunnel walls. The cart rocked violently. The girl screamed, clinging to Daniel's arm. The explosion wasn't just an attack, something had entered the tunnel. Armored alien soldiers dropped from a hole in the ceiling, landing directly on the tracks. Their boots sparked against metal. Their helmets glowed with scanning lights, searching for heat signatures. One soldier shouted, "Stop the cart! The bride is carrying an anomaly. Retrieve her alive." Alive. The aliens never wanted her alive. before, but now that she carried something impossible. They needed her. Daniel gritted his teeth and pulled the lever harder. We're not stopping. The cart sped faster. The tunnel wind whipped around them. But the soldiers activated their gravity boots and began running on the wall, matching the cart's speed like metal predators. The girl's heart pounded wildly. Daniel, they're catching up. Daniel grabbed a metal pipe from the cart's side. Hold tight. One soldier leaped toward the cart. Daniel swung the pipe, slamming it against the soldier's helmet. Sparks flew. The soldier lost balance and fell under the wheels, vanishing in a flash of blue light. Another soldier fired a stun blast, hitting the back of the cart. The machine shook violently. The girl cried out and nearly fell off, but Daniel pulled her tightly against him. I got you, he said. Another explosion lit the tunnel. Track end in 200 meters. A robotic voice announced from an ancient speaker. The girl paled. If the track ends, we'll crash. Daniel looked forward. There was indeed a dead end ahead, a broken platform and a massive drop into darkness. The aliens behind them sped up. The girl's voice shook. Daniel, what do we do? Daniel breathed once, steady and calm, like a man who had made dangerous decisions before. We jump, he said. Her eyes widened. We'll die. Not if we do it right. Behind them, soldiers prepared one final attack. In front of them, the rail track ended in the void. Daniel wrapped one arm around her, holding her close. When I say jump, don't think. Just trust me. She closed her eyes, tears slipping down her face. No one had ever asked her to trust them before, but for the first time in her life, she did. Daniel shouted, now! And together, they jumped into the darkness, as the aliens fired everything they had. They fell through darkness. Daniel held the alien girl tightly against him as the world dropped beneath their feet. Wind rushed past their ears. The tunnel lights above became tiny stars. The girl buried her face in Daniel's chest, shaking from terror. Daniel, she screamed. We're falling. We're landing in water, he yelled over the wind. Don't let go. A second later, a cold, violent splash swallowed them whole. The underground lake hit like a wall. Daniel felt the shock in his bones. The girl struggled beneath the surface, her small hands clawing desperately. He wrapped an arm around her waist and kicked upward. They broke the surface. Gasping, the cave around them was massive, lit by faint crystals glowing on the walls. The water was freezing. The girl clung to Daniel like a lifeline, shivering hard. Behind them, the echo of alien soldiers' shouts bounced through the tunnels. They'll come down after us, she whispered. No, Daniel said, pulling her toward a rocky shore. They're not built for this environment. The girl blinked in confusion. What do you mean? They wear heavy armor, talking helmets. Their boots are gravity-based. Water ruins all of that. She stared at him, amazed. How do you know so much about them? Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he lifted her from the water and carried her to dry ground. She was trembling, both from the cold and the shock of the fall. He finally replied, his voice quiet. Humans had wars with aliens before. We learned one thing. They rely on tech. We rely on instinct. She pulled the blanket around herself, teeth chattering. Instinct. Daniel knelt beside her, checking her breathing. Are you okay? Did you swallow too much water? She shook her head. I'm fine. Just scared. He glanced at her stomach. Are you hurting anywhere? The child, her breath hitched. I don't know. I don't feel different. Daniel placed his hand gently on her abdomen. She tensed but didn't pull away. We'll get you somewhere safe, he murmured. We'll protect both of you. Both of you. The words made her chest warm in a strange, painful way. No one had ever included her in anything. No one had ever thought of her as someone worth protecting. Daniel stood and scanned the cave. We need to keep moving. This lake connects to old mining shafts. If we follow the airflow, we can reach a hidden exit. She tried to stand but stumbled. Daniel caught her, supporting her weight. I'm slowing you down, she whispered. You're not slowing anything, Daniel said. You're surviving. That's enough. They walked along a narrow ledge, their footsteps echoing softly. The cave air was cold and thin. Water dripped from stalactites above like falling tears. The girl kept looking over her shoulder. How long until they find another way inside? Not long, Daniel admitted. They'll scan for temperature, for movement, for heartbeats. Her own heart thudded painfully. Then we're running from an entire empire. Daniel didn't deny it. Yes, she swallowed. Because of me. Because of what they put inside you, he corrected. That child changes everything. To them, it's a threat. To me, he looked at her. It's life. Her chest tightened. A tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. They climbed up a steep slope of rocks. The tunnel grew narrower. She slipped again, knees scraping stone. Daniel grabbed her waist. Careful. I'm trying, she whispered. I know. They reached a high ridge. Daniel lifted her up first, then pulled himself up beside her. Suddenly, a loud metallic sound echoed behind them. A drone. A glowing eye-like scanner swept across the cave. Daniel cursed under his breath. They sent drones. Faster than soldiers. Deadlier. The girl panicked. We can't outrun them. Daniel grabbed her hand. We don't outrun them. He pointed to a narrow crevice between rocks. We hide. He pushed her inside first. The space was cramped and dark. Daniel squeezed in after her, his body shielding hers. The drone's humming grew louder. A blue light scanned the cave floor. Girl buried her face in Daniel's chest, shaking. Daniel's arm wrapped around her protectively. Stay still, he whispered. The drone's beam passed over their hiding spot, then paused. The girl stopped breathing. Daniel held her tighter, staying absolutely silent. The drone scanned again. And again. Then suddenly shot a laser into the cave wall, inches from their hiding place. She gasped. Daniel covered her mouth gently. Don't move. Don't make a sound. The drone word confused. Human heat signatures were unpredictable. Alien ones were clean. The mixed readings confused it. After 10 long terrifying seconds, the drone finally flew away. They both exhaled. Daniel looked into her shaken eyes. We need to get out of these tunnels before they send more. But where will we go? Daniel tightened his grip on her hand. To the surface, he said. Where humans are strongest. She nodded slowly, but her voice trembled with truth. And where my people will bring everything they have to catch me. The narrow crevice trembled as the drone's humming grew faint. Daniel listened until the sound finally disappeared into the deep tunnels. Only then did he let out a long breath. The alien girl slowly lifted her head from his chest, her cheeks wet with tears, her body still shaking from fear. Is it gone? She whispered. For now, Daniel said. But they'll send more. Her breathing was uneven. They know I'm alive. But they don't know why I survived the fall. Daniel looked at her stomach again. We need to protect the baby. The word baby made her heart jump. She touched her stomach gently, like she was afraid to harm something so small and fragile. Daniel, how can this happen? Our species are too different. There's only one explanation, he said quietly. Humans adapt, and your body accepted that adaptation. She shook her head slowly. No child like this ever existed. No scientist in my world even believed it was possible. Daniel took her hand. Sometimes the impossible is just something no one tried yet. Her eyes filled again. If the Empire discovers this, they won't just hunt me. They'll try to take the child. They'll study it, use it, or destroy it. Daniel squeezed her hand gently. Then we don't let them. She stared at him, into his calm eyes, into his steady breath, into the strength he had never boasted about. "Why?" she whispered. "Why risk your life for someone you barely know?" Daniel paused, then spoke softly. "Because you were. Thrown away, used like a joke, and still you survived. That makes you stronger than they realize." She swallowed. "But I'm still scared." "Good," he said. "Only fools aren't scared." She blinked at him. Somehow those simple words gave her more strength than any warrior training ever had. Daniel moved aside a few rocks and revealed a narrow path leading upward. "We need to reach the old ventilation shafts. They lead close to the forest surface. From there, I can get us to a safe place." She hesitated. "Will humans help us, or will they fear me too?" "Some will fear, some will help. Humans are complicated," he said. "And you?" She whispered. Daniel looked at her, expression soft. "I don't fear you." Her heart thudded painfully. They began climbing again. The tunnel was steep, the air thin. Every noise echoed like thunder. The girl stumbled several times. Daniel lifted her, carried her, pushed her upward, never leaving her behind. At one point, she stopped. Her hand flew to her stomach. "Daniel, wait." His eyes widened. "Pain? No. I think." Her voice trembled. "I felt something." A movement. Daniel knelt, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "Are you sure?" She nodded slowly, touching her stomach again. A small, tiny flutter. Her breath caught. "It's real." Daniel smiled softly. "Good, that means the child is strong." A sudden scream of metal rang through the tunnels. Daniel pulled her behind a rock. They found another entrance. Heavy footsteps echoed. Alien soldiers stomped through the chamber they had climbed out of. The girl's heart nearly stopped. "They're so close." Daniel looked up the tunnel. "We keep going." They climbed faster, each step heavier, each breath sharper. Rocks scraped their hands. Dust filled their lungs. But they kept moving. Then they reached a small opening. Fresh, cold air blew through it. "We're near the surface," Daniel said. The girl crawled through the gap first. Her eyes widened as she emerged into a large underground greenhouse. An old human survival chamber filled with glowing plants. She staggered to her feet, then her knees buckled. Daniel grabbed her instantly. "What happened?" I don't know," she said, holding her stomach. "I feel dizzy." Daniel checked her pulse. "Your body is shifting. It's trying to support the baby. We need to rest." "No," she insisted. "If we stop now, they'll catch us." Daniel looked at her with a mix of fear and determination. "I won't let that happen." But before she could answer, a voice boomed from the tunnel behind them. "There they are!" Alien soldiers poured into the greenhouse, weapons drawn. Daniel pulled the girl behind a massive root structure. "Stay down." The soldiers marched forward, scanning the plants. "She carries an anomaly. Capture her alive. Kill the human." Her whole body froze. "Daniel, you can't fight all of them." Daniel pulled out a small device from his bag. "I don't need to." He pressed a button. The greenhouse lights flickered. Then thousands of glowing pods on the plants burst open, releasing clouds of shimmering spores. The soldiers coughed, blinded, stumbling backward. The girl gasped. "What did you do?" Daniel grabbed her hand and ran toward the exit. "Human plants, they react to heat signatures. Overload them, and you get a smoke bomb." They escaped through the back chamber, slipping out before the soldiers could recover. As they ran into the cold night air above ground, the girl whispered, "Daniel, why are humans like this, so fragile yet so powerful?" He smiled tiredly. "Because sometimes the galaxy forgets what humans really are." She stared at him, realizing something chilling. Her people feared humans, but they truly didn't understand them. Not yet. Cold night air swept across the forest. As Daniel and the alien girl climbed the last rocky hill, the moonlight touched her pale face, and for the first time since she arrived on Earth, she wasn't shaking from fear, she was shaking from exhaustion. Her steps were slow. Her breath was heavy. Every few minutes, she placed a hand on her stomach as if to remind herself the unborn child was still there. That Daniel walked close beside her, supporting her weight with an arm around her back. "Just a little farther," he said softly. "We're almost safe," she whispered. "I don't even know what that word means anymore." "You will," he promised. At the top of the hill, they finally saw it. A open landing field where local human ships came and went. A single patrol craft sat there, its engines cooling, lights soft in the dark. Humans, not soldiers, but simple workers, walked around it. The girl stopped walking. She stared at the craft, fear mixing with hope. "Daniel, if I return to them, my people will follow. They will start a war." Daniel took her hands gently. "We won't return to them. We'll return because of them." Her eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Daniel's voice lowered. "They used you, laughed at you, erased your worth. But now you carry the one thing they never expected." She touched her stomach, feeling a tiny pulse of hope inside her. "A child." "Not just a child," Daniel said. "A symbol, proof that they were wrong. Proof that they can't control everything." She closed her eyes. "Daniel, I'm scared." He touched her cheek gently. "I know, but we face this together." Before she could answer, the ground trembled beneath their feet. A massive alien dropship broke through the clouds, engines roaring like thunder. Searchlights slashed across the trees. Human workers panicked and ran for cover. The girl's face went pale. "It's them." Daniel stepped in front of her. "Stay behind me." The dropship landed with a violent crash. Its ramp lowered, and dozens of alien soldiers marched out in perfect formation. Their armor gleamed. Their weapons hummed. At the front walked the elite commander, tall and cold, his 4 eyes glowing with authority. He pointed at the girl. "There she is. The failed bride. Surrender her immediately." Daniel didn't move. The commander's voice hardened. "Human, step aside. Her life is not yours." Daniel's voice was calm but strong. "She is not a joke, not trash, not something you can throw away." The commander sneered. "She belongs to the Empire." "No," Daniel said quietly. "She belongs to herself." A murmur went through the soldiers. No alien had heard a human speak with such certainty. The commander lifted his weapon. "If you do not surrender her, we will erase you." Daniel held his ground. The alien girl trembled, then slowly stepped out from behind Daniel. Her voice shook. "Stop, please, stop." The commander looked at her with disgust. "Weak, even after all this time." She touched her stomach. "She didn't speak loudly. She didn't need to." Every soldier heard her whisper, "I am carrying a child." Silence. The soldiers froze. The commander blinked. Several lowered their weapons. "A child?" the commander said slowly. "With a human?" The girl nodded. "Yes." Shock rippled through the entire alien squad. Their minds knew the truth. Such a child should not exist. Such a child could rewrite biology, rewrite alliances, rewrite power. The commander stepped back, suddenly unsure. This cannot be." Daniel stepped beside the girl. "It is." The girl took Daniel's hand. Her voice grew stronger. "You sent me as a joke, but I returned with the one thing you fear, proof that your laws are lies." The commander's voice cracked with anger. "This child is an abomination." "No," Daniel said. "This child is the future." The alien stood frozen. They couldn't attack her now, not without violating 10 of their own ancient laws, not without risking rebellion. Not without causing chaos in their empire. The commander clenched his fists. This is not over, human. Daniel met his gaze without fear. It never is. Slowly, the soldiers stepped back. The dropship engines roared again. One by one, they retreated, swallowing their pride. The joke bride they once mocked now terrified them more than any weapon. The girl watched them leave, tears falling silently. Daniel stepped closer. "Are you okay?" She nodded slowly. For the first time, yes. The dropship rose into the sky and vanished. Silence returned. She looked up at Daniel with soft, trembling eyes. "You didn't have to protect me, but you did." Daniel gently squeezed her hand. "You're not alone anymore." She placed his hand on her stomach. "Neither are we." And under the night sky, with a whole empire frightened of what she carried, the girl realized something. She hadn't returned defeated. She hadn't returned broken. She returned carrying hope, and that hope was half human.